What's up, guys? Welcome back to GESC's NA Qualifiers. We may have a winner here because this is only a best of 3. I know. And VGJ.Storm are already up 1 game. compLexity did put up a pretty darn good showing after having already gotten destroyed in the last game, so it may have been a little bit too late. But, you never want to count these teams out. You never want to do that. We'll see what's going to happen in this draft. They have reserve time this time. They're still speed drafting. What the hell? I'm Mike Lawrence, going to be your caster for this game. Take note, Limps Venomancer is going to be taken out. Also do have that Nature's Prophet ban, which pretty much everyone actually on NA has been, not even just in NA, just like all over the place. They've been running Nature's Prophet in support, in the core role, in pretty much every role to a pretty high degree of success. But we got VGJ.Storm busting out that Elder Titan, a hero that has been let through quite a few times, which is kind of odd to see a hero just, ignored, and then first picked. But, whatever. It happens sometimes, I suppose. For an Elder Titan, it's definitely a decent start if you have some way of capitalizing on, first of all, his damage aura and also his early game setup. Viper is one of those great heroes that will do that if you want to. The reason why Viper, I think, works really well with the Elder Titan is because you have the option of going in with the ET, setting up that stomp, and then once you get on top of someone after that stomp because they're sleeping, they're not escaping you. It's just not going to happen unless they quite literally have a blink ability. So you will be able to just pretty much insta-kill, or at least set up for almost insta-kills when that happens. And even down the line, you drop the enemy's magic resistance down to nothing with that Elder Titan aura, and then you drop the Nether Toxin on them, so they are super, super sad as far as magic resistance is concerned. How much does Nether Toxin reduce again? Let's see, that's a 25% reduction on top of the essential pure damage you get from having the ET aura there. That's a hell of a lot of magic damage, plus Viper does some physical as well. Now, the dire compLexity, they will see this one coming, and they will pick up not a blinker, but definitely a hero that will challenge this as much as possible in that Death Prophet. I would say it's either pick this hero up or prepare to full dual tri-lane your mid lane, because you need to be able to defend yourself somehow. The Siphon is great for sure, but it's not always going to be enough to get you out of those scenarios. So definitely a little bit more of a resilient pick here. But it will seem like they need to give this Death Prophet a little bit of support. With that Sand King, though, that pickup for most likely Z-Freak at this point, they will for sure be able to set up for some pretty nasty plays over in mid. But again, you're going in towards a Viper. So Burrow Strike, Siphon, Swarms, it's nice. It's quite a bit of CC. It will be difficult to actually land killing blows because Viper is just so durable thanks to that corrosive skin, which he is going to be leveling up for sure in that lane. Chen, Bane. Still have heroes like Omni-Knight in the pool. Teams have been kind of neglecting that Naga Siren. I think probably for good reason. Overall, it's yeah, she's pretty good, but Sand King is just better. I would say Tusk is just better. ET is just better. I don't know. Sand King is definitely, I think, the super premium 4-position hero. If you want to get that one hero, it's going to be the Sand King. And he's really powerful, but it doesn't seem unfair. Dark Willow is a hero that is so powerful that she kind of seems unfair. You guys know what I mean? She kind of just does it all, whereas Sand King will be very powerful at what he does, but he can only do so many things at a time. The AA Night Stalker, either way, still going to be taken out. Still looking for that support with the ET. Still got Rubik as a potential support pick. The Witch Doctor seems reasonable. Okay, there's the Rubik. Kelsaprise. Rubik with ET? Wow, I've never seen that before. Lift up into the Stomp. Easy combos. Plus, you're going up against Sand King, so you get the Burrow Strike. You do have some pretty decent spells to steal from the DP. And even more magic damage, keep in mind. Nullfield doesn't do a lot. I think that's only 20%?
5 seconds remaining.
Damn, these numbers. So you got 25 from the Viper. You get pure from the ET. And Rubik has... How much is this offensive no field? 22. Damn. So close. So that's a hell of a lot of magic damage from Storm. This is a scenario where, they could pick up
10 seconds remaining.
any sort of core that has any sort of magic damage and just absolutely destroy
5
everyone.
seconds remaining.
So grabbing someone like a Luna, just a little bit of Eclipse damage, there you go. Morphling would be a possibility. Doesn't seem all that strong, actually, so maybe not him. But, yeah, you got some serious options from that safe lane. I was just thinking, man, someone just crossed my mind and then I forgot who it was. It's not PL. Damn, I just lost my mind there for a second. Lifestealer. You just, pick up a Lifestealer and then just go Radiance. And currently, compLexity don't really have any ways of answering that. And it's not banned out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that angle, though it'll just be the Luna. This mixed damage, super high damage comp from Storm, they have the ability to put out some pretty threatening lanes, and it seems like that may be what they're trying to set up for. Witch Doctor, Sand King, they're decent in a tri-lane, but it's tough to beat a Luna Rubik ET. So I'm expecting now for Storm to be picking up a self-sufficient hero for snaking, kind of like an Abaddon Omni Knight type of hero, a hero that you don't really need to help, and then just running full aggro onto whoever is going to be playing the core, or wherever Chessie's going to go. Just try to just manhandle him with this lane, because Luna Rubik ET, it is really, really difficult to beat that lane setup. Viper already is one of those heroes that you don't really need to help, so just throw him in a lane, be okay with it, do the same exact thing for Snaking's hero, and then apply that pressure. For the compLexity, on the other hand, Witch Doctor, Sand King, they know that they are going to be involved in these early game engagements. They know that they're going to be taking a lot of damage from a range, so perhaps the kind of conclusion here is to go for these fights and try to brute force them down. With a Lifestealer or Jugs, both seem possible, or CK, that's also a decent one, at just saying, okay, enough of this harassment, I'm going to go kill you. He does not have the magic immunity that some of those Lifestealer, Juggernaut type heroes will have, but what he does have is the ability to take these fights head on and come out ahead. Especially since you're looking at CK with his Bolt, Witch Doctor, and Sand King, all of which will just destroy Storm. ET's kind of combo breaking potential is really, really lackluster, especially when there's a cask bouncing around where he's not comfortable sitting there and actually channeling his stomp. So the compLexity side are definitely ready to take this heads-up fight. So much to the point where Storm may consider dissolving this. Still, they would be looking for a little bit of a space creator from snaking. There's already a Witch Doctor, but someone like a Tidehunter for Storm can get a hell of a lot done. Again, just some way of getting them some space in these fights. Enigma snaking, that seems pretty weak. You don't want to do that. Omni Knight seems like probably just the hero to pick here. Omni Knight has a little bit of extra AoE for that CK, repelling a Luna or a Viper, or laying down a GA after you see the CK and Death Prophet charge in with their ultimates. Their ultimates, CK and Death Prophet, both entirely physical, so GA is going to do quite a bit there.
5 seconds.
Omni Knight isn't banned, right? I'm not like just tripping balls. Yeah, he's not banned. Nothing more embarrassing than saying, this is the best pick in the world, and then he's just banned the entire time. He was banned the entire game. We had no idea. From compLexity's side of things, though, still looking for Moo's hero. And they have the potential snowball draft. Beastmaster seems like a real possibility here. Makes CK just absolutely backbreaking. They could also go for a Brew. They don't really... People don't really pick Brew super highly anymore, but could be a really reasonable pickup up against these Storm heroes. Or, a Pugna. That's risky, man. Pugna's going to give them the most pushing power possible. So, that's kind of cool. The Pugna, however, is going to be going up against a team that can put out very, very quick damage. And Pugna is not exactly known for being tanky. I mean, just look at him. This guy, this is not supposed to be tanky. He doesn't look tanky. He ain't tanky. So he is going to have to play the very delicate game. The concern I have for compLexity's draft is, oh, what a surprise. Storm pick up an Omni Knight. Wow, we didn't see that one coming. The concern I have for compLexity is that though they do have like these really, really high damage heroes, Pugna, Death Prophet in particular, they aren't really going to have all that much front line cover. The CK is a pretty decent hero at that. He's decent. But Sand King is not quite someone like a Clockwork who can actually put up physical barriers and make it difficult for Storm to get on top of the Pugna DP. Witch Doctor is decent at it, but he's not quite someone like a Disruptor who can, again, quite literally put up physical barriers and make sure that these heroes are going to have their space. So the control has to be landing pretty much perfectly if they ever get surrounded compLexity, and if they're not able to present a kind of unified wall, then the Luna and Viper, they're just going to cut right through. And of course, it's going to be very difficult to present that unified wall when there is going to be this Elder Titan, a hero that can just stomp and then everyone just gets into position while everyone's sleeping and then take the fight afterwards. I do think this Storm side draft is very powerful. And I think that the best way for compLexity to take this game is going to be getting away with these lanes. Because again, they, as I said, have this incredible snowball draft. DP just inherently is that hero. CK, same exact thing, and Pugna is like the definition of. So if they're able to have half-decent lanes, we might see compLexity end this game very, very quickly. Because they just have the power to do so. But if the lanes are even or, you know, hotly contested because of Storm's setup, then drawn out into a later stage, they may have to worry just a little bit. Now, CK in the late game is definitely going to be quite the powerhouse, but I'm concerned for Pugna's well-being in this game. Overall, though, I would say the drafts, they have strengths, they have weaknesses. I don't think that any one is particularly better than the other. At least not to a point where you could just say, like, oh yeah, this is the reason why they lost or anything like that. Like, both sides have a non-zero amount of initiation. Control-wise, maybe Storm's a little bit light, but you know, they don't really need all that much anyway. Team fighting is going to come down to execution and initiation, as per usual, right? Like, that's how it always is. We'll see how these lanes actually break down. It will be no surprise, DP versus that Viper. MSS is going to run into that Sand King, but we'll be going into the Pugna's lane, where Snaking is going to be there as well. And Nadiwar's Luna, SVG, ET. Just looking for the enemy hero will be Chessie, actually. And Kittrack. 2v2. This is an interesting situation here for VGJ, because the Witch Doctor is going to be reigning supreme right now. SVG will occasionally be really powerful when he does this, just gets a lot of extra damage and starts punching into Chessie. But even then, ET will take a lot of damage. There's the Maledict a little bit late after that damage is being done. And the lane setup for VGJ.Storm here is supposed to be really grindy. Does seem like they need, they need a swap up here. They need either MSS to come towards his top lane and really apply that pressure, or they need just an entire swap overall, and they will do just that. And hey, look at this, with an opportunity to do some pretty free damage. Z-Freak will feel the wrath of that plus 14 from two range heroes. Still alive, very much so, but over in this bottom lane, they have a lot more durability now, and a lot more of a core that can stand up to Chessie. Because Luna can not really pressure a CK all that well. You chip at him a little bit, but plus 14 damage from an ET is not really incredibly relevant. In this setup, they'll have the beam to at least poke back onto Mu. Still will be taking a lot of damage, and that is the real downside of Luna here, is that her range is just so low, and the lanes are kind of awkward, where she is going to be at least pressured a little bit the entire time. She should be able to be a little bit safer in this bottom lane, as long as they have eyes out for Z-Freak, which currently they don't actually have. He ducked into the side jungle. War is going to be looking, I think may have seen him. Yeah, he pings him out. Over in the mid lane in the meantime, it's going to be the most exciting lane possible. You got Viper, got DP. Both these two heroes can kill one another, but it's just going to be whoever plays kind of more reserved. I don't know. It's kind of just a race for mistakes in this mid lane. Whoever makes that one crucial error just might go down. If you don't make that error, you're fine, man. You're A-okay. As it stands, compLexity CS just leading a little bit. But this dual lane setup is really just going to leave this mid lane on an island, as you would expect. Viper usually is okay with this, and he is 2 CS behind the Death Prophet, whatever. It's not a relevant gap. Even on the other heroes, except for this Luna. Not really a hugely relevant gap, but they do have this concern of this Luna. MSS really wanted that range creep, and he'll get him. It was pretty cheap thanks to that Arcane Rune on top of that. Can he get any of these other creeps with that Fade Bolt? This is really an awkward time to be a Luna, though she has gotten level 2 in that beam, so that actually makes her quite the threat, especially with the lift up. Sand King is going to get defensively decrepified, has the Burrow Strike out, but another beam, one more right click, got him. Nope, didn't get him. He's going to try to TP out, couple more right clicks, needs one more Fade Bolt from range. We'll get the first blood. And that's the big difference between level 1 Luna and level 3 Luna. Lunar Blessing is great and everything, but sometimes you just need to be able to chunk the enemies down and drop those beams. Cooldown on beam is actually pretty darn low, and she is going to go for that Ring of Aquila. So additional mana regeneration off the lane, and though maybe behind in CS, getting that kill on the lane is probably just going to entirely equalize things, and ultimately these lanes are going to be even. And that is not really what compLexity want. And of course they can manage with even lanes, it's not like the end of the world or anything like that. But for right now, having lanes that they are not actively winning means that snowball potential that they had is suddenly not really a huge possibility. Of course, it's not too late to start winning these lanes. It is definitely not too late for that. But you'd rather have it start earlier than later. Z-Freak's movement up towards top lane with this smoke might just be the thing that gets them a little bit of momentum here. But they are going to leave Mu on an island on this bottom lane. He does have 8 wand charges. Will decrepify himself, and he is very, very quick, but there is level 2 beam, and they will have quite a few right clicks. He will stick up, and looks like he will survive. 385 with just brown boots. Dude has got wheels. Pugna's one of the fastest heroes in the game. Luna's pretty quick, so is CK. The base movement speed in this game is actually pretty ridiculous, but yeah, decrepify and run. Gotta be careful because beams are gonna hurt a lot if you decide to do that. MSS, he's just chipping away. He can Mango lift up. He really wants to get involved here. Over in mid lane, Tomato's always caught limp. You're dead to the poison. And again, it's all about who makes that first mistake. The Death Prophet is going to be kind of at the victim of her Siphon range, which is not terrible, but the Viper usually has enough slows to kind of disengage away from that. Low on mana, but he has the Ring of Aquila, is going to get more mana delivered out to him shortly. And once you lose that first kill, once you die that first time, really difficult to bring it back and tie up the lane, especially since the level 3 poison attack is up. So like the weakest part of Viper's lane, that's passed already. Limp will take a lot of that extra damage. She does have the bottle advantage as Tomato doesn't have any sort of similar sustain. But as long as he's a little bit conservative with the poison attacks, he will still be head in the lane, and he will expectedly stay head in the lane. Up until the point where rotation comes in. And they are making rotation on the mid lane right now as Chessie's going to get jumped. SVG and Snaking just charging in. Chessie's going to find a time to pop that salve and will survive. But this is the move that compLexity are going to decide to make to try to equalize this mid lane. Killing off Tomato will draw up this lane and bring them back to parity. But they don't see anyone on that top lane because of that super long dive. They gotta assume that something's up, but they don't expect this. The complete surround onto the Viper. Now Maledicted. He's gonna try to get rid of that Viper Strike and will do so. Here comes Snaking. Gives him a little bit of health, but that Repel's not doing anything up against the Ghosts. He will go down at the end, but Snaking just laying into Limp. And the Stomp coming in. Limp will go down to the Stomp as everyone's joining the party. Will be Z-Freak or ZF to fall, ultimately. I don't know who that ZF guy is. I don't know if he's good. But that fight was not what compLexity were looking for. And that is why you pick up Viper in particular in this setup, because he is just so tanky versus all the damage that's going to be coming at him. Witch Doctor, like, his Maledict is okay, but it's only level 2 at this stage, and it is magical. Siphon Swarm, great usually, but not as much so versus that Viper. They do eventually get him because they have enough physical damage from the Exorcism, but the rotations from Storm are just going to be slightly superior. Although, over in bottom lane, Luna takes a pretty big hit. Looks like the Raindrop will keep her, for the most part, safe. And Yuar's going to piece out of here. Go up towards Sneaking, expecting that salve. Yeah. Even though you're a core, you're still a support, Omni Knight. That's just your life. They're going to bail out of this lane and move. And start pushing. Does have the Soul Ring. Does have a Clarity working away with the Siege Creep here, as well as Chessie. They should be able to take down this tower. It's going to be very costly time-wise and mana-wise. But probably still worth. Yuar doesn't have to expend anything similar. Ring of Aquila turned on, just slowly beating down this tower. May or may not get it. But they are looking for Limp. That's the ultimate goal here. Tomato does not have a Viper Strike. Swarm will chip out another one of those rain drops. And Tomato's actually being surrounded right now, only at half HP. Only at 2 points in that corrosive. There's a Sand King right behind him, but yeah, they're going to reveal MSS over that ward and over to the creep wave. Towers will be traded at the end, it looks like. Tomato's really playing things fast and loose over in this mid lane. Sitting over here at half HP, that's pretty darn risky, man. Gone for maxed out in that poison attack. For value in a 1v1 matchup, that's what you want. But the lane isn't going to stay a 1v1 matchup. compLexity know that that's already kind of a dead plan, so they have to switch things up a little bit. That was the most underwhelming Fade Bolt I've ever seen in my life. CS. Gotta be careful. Chessie has that Reality Rift. CK doesn't have that armlet up just yet, but he's still ready to party. Z-Freak is in a pretty good spot. ZF, rather. He will get thrown away. Chessie pushing forward, looking to rift someone, anyone. We'll find MSS. Looks like it's just out of range. There's no more spells here on the Rubik. He is level 5, pushing the level 6 mark. Here comes Tomato from the back lines, actually. The Phantasm is going to go off with the Exorcism onto Tomato. He is going to get put into the blender. Repel comes up on him, but the GA is way too late. They do make the trade for Chessie, but now here comes the Luna. She does have an Eclipse, and it is going to start dropping some bombs onto no one, actually, because everyone just got out of range. Feels pretty bad, man. They have Moo in the corner, but Z-Freak comes with the Burrow Strike with the Siphon on top. One Purification can give you the ability to fight for a little while longer, but they do get the kill in the end. As now they're looking to set up on that Pugna. SVG is going to get hit with that cast, and he can't hit him anymore because he's ethereal. They will lose 3 in exchange for 2. Limp survives. As the sequencing of spells there from Snaking just a little bit off. That was an interesting decision for initiation. The walk-in Viper initiation, classic. But that was also just the fact that Death Prophet was able to see the Luna coming thanks to that Pugna. Pugna being so speedy, just running away from that Eclipse. I don't think a single beam landed from that Eclipse. And if you get Eclipse like over here, like you're just dead. Like everyone is dead. But getting Eclipse down here in the creep wave, then suddenly things are looking a little bit better there. So Yuara's rotation into that bottom lane, though definitely the correct move. compLexity definitely had the response that was appropriate, and we're able to claim victory in that fight. There's also the GA down, though it is going to be the Exorcism down as well. Tower on the bottom lane, really worse for the wear. And though Exorcism is really powerful as a pushing tool, they have Pugna. So they still have the ability to push. They don't have to worry about that. They do have to worry about this mid lane, perhaps. Tomato, Snaking, they're just going to blow up the creep wave and start working away at this tower. Z-Freak does not have that much gold. He is going to have a good angle onto Sneaking. Perhaps with the Burrow Strike, does land it. But the raindrop is there, and he does have a Repel and a Purification, and even a Stomp to disengage. A little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there, but ultimately no harm, no foul. MSS does have Life Drain stolen. Does have just level 6, so again, you're looking at some really powerful abilities that you can steal. Anything from Pugna is really, really powerful. CK, you get that bolt, that's okay, but you're really looking for that Burrow Strike. You're looking for that Cask from the Witch Doctor. Exorcism is amazing. You got options, man, you got options. Right now, though, compLexity, though they are a little bit behind, come out of these laning phases with, I would say, even lanes. And it's right after these lanes kind of dissolve is when they get to be their most potent. They are going to look to hit their timing for real off of this Blink Dagger on the Sand King. Getting at that point level 2 Exorcism is going to let them start brute forcing objectives if they want to. They probably should want to as well. You don't want to give time for Yuara to recover in this game. Or to, like, skyrocket and farm. That's kind of just what Luna does. So the faster they can get this push going, the better. If they smoke up, they could still make that play can happen out of nowhere. This is a concern, though. Chessie's farm is kind of lackluster. I feel like that always happens whenever Chessie plays CK. I feel like he always just has an okay time, but he's never really ahead and with that 13-minute armlet and just starting to stomp everyone. It just never happens. He has gone for Power Treads and Magic Wand as kind of preliminary items, so he's spending his gold still, but
is under attack.
CK is the type of hero that doesn't farm. He farms heroes. And if you're not farming heroes, you're probably losing as CK.
Dire's bottom tower is
Moo,
under attack.
he is blasting down the
While
wave.
scanning.
CMSS does have the offensive no field turned out, but now they have an angle onto Moo. They're just going to run straight into him, lift him up, and beam him down, Scotty. Z-Freak is going to teleport in, immediately uses the Sandstorm. Can they find him? They get the silence onto the Omni Knight. Z-Freak does have a Burrow Strike, so they have to be really careful here. Looks like Blast was stolen by MSS, so all of a sudden, the push is on the other foot. And they will chunk down Z-Freak to half. Stomp coming in. It will drive him back towards the Viper, allowing his poison attack to land with a couple more right clicks. He will Burrow Strike out, but oof. Still with that damage over time and one more poison attack, will get the kill. MSS is going to drain his entire mana pool, blasting down that tower, but it is a tower gained nonetheless.
Radiant's top tower
With
is
not
under
that
attack.
much else gained here. Limp is chilling, trying to defend. Kitrak is pushing out the mid lane. I guess Chessie's able to pick up the armlet off of that push. Farming while that push happens, but oh my god. Oh my god. What the? What? He's 404. What the? Okay, he's very close with everyone, but damn. There's like 4 cores, like literally 4 green bars up here, and a blink dagger on Rubik. Hot damn. I don't know how MSS always does this. Like, it's understandable on, like, Dark Willow when he's playing Keeper of the Light. It's like, you know, you're gonna get a lot of kills, you're gonna get a lot of creeps or whatever, but he's playing Rubik. He's not like a 5-position Rubik. SVG is playing the real support here, so it's understandable why he's getting all this additional gold, but damn, man, he's kind of loaded, and Telekinesis out. He's gonna combo break that engagement onto SVG, still with a life drain. He's gonna throw out one more Spirit, but he will go down. Z-Freak taking a beating in the meantime. Chessie's still smoked up in the back. They do have an Exorcism, and they do have a target. Do Storm want to fight this? With no Eclipse, it should probably be a dodged fight.
Radiant's middle
They'll just
tower
chuck out
is under
some tornadoes and stuff like that, try to thin the creep wave, slow this down, but you can't slow down a Pugna push, man. It's gonna happen. Luna is starting to teleport back, but the tower has already fallen. Tomato looking to push forward now as the Luna is still a little bit far away, but they're gonna jump out and find the Sand King. Purification is gonna do quite a bit of damage, but they have landed that Maledict onto Tomato. Pull him back in with the Death Ward. There goes your Viper. Stomp's gonna land onto 3, but Limp is giving them all the space in the world to just sit back and weather that storm while the Earth Splitter comes in and crushes them all. Yuar is looking for an opportunity to get on top of someone. He's gonna find Z-Freak in a corner. They're chasing after Moo. Now here's the Eclipse onto Limp. He overplayed his hand. He stuck around for a little bit too long, and he will get beamed down as well. Off to the side, it's SVG, the quote-unquote support, beating the tar out of Moo. A full 5-man wipe, even though this Viper doesn't stand a snowball's chance. They wait patiently for this Luna to get in position, and that Earth Splitter play from the support of the ET. 3-man stomp, Earth Splitter onto 3, instantly CK's down with no ability to armlet toggle. And still MSS actually does have that Nether Blast, so yeah, this is going to be a punishing crackback from VGJ. Chessie in the wings waiting, although MSS is going to see him walking right by. His Blink Dagger is going to be cancelled. And he thought about the Reality Rift, but he's just going to zip right along and get on top of the Sand King. Reality Rift's going to pull back, sneaking, trying to go for the Omni Knight, but that's going to be just enough damage. Gets one Purification off, not going to do it. Now the cast bounces through onto the Luna, keeping her in, and she's decrepified and surrounded. Going to go down for sure. Chessie this time able to use his armlet to a decent degree. And Storm, not with enough gas in the tank after that push commitments, will back off, should be safe. Complexity crack back for a little bit of their own, but the Exorcism is not down, so push only coming out of Pugna at this stage. They do take down the Luna. Level 12 with Mask of Madness. She is very, very burstable, as we've just seen. This Viper, though, gonna go for all that durability, all that tankability. Still got that Rubik, man, walking around with that offensive aura. And the natural order is almost maxed out for SVG, so keep that in mind. Magic damage from Storm. If Rubik can steal anything that does magic damage, like, say, a Burrow Strike or a Nether Blast, we'll just destroy the health pools of everyone for Complexity. They need their BKBs for sure, and they are going to build one on the DP. CK, going to go for the Armlet Blink. Went for Echo Saber last time. Looks like he's opting to skip that one. or delay that one at least. But usually we don't see Chessie build, or CKs in general rather, build BKBs until a little bit later in the game. You kind of rely on your illusions to do the damage. And of course your illusions don't get much benefit from BKB. Smoke's still out though, as the Radiant scan's going to stay green. And they will find an angle onto Limp. Blink Burrow Strike, Blink Telekinesis, all options, but into a tier 2 tower, not super appealing options. They'll just clear out a sentry. It's going to reveal their positioning, but they're still teleporting up towards top, looking for some action up here. War does see the Sand King scuttle into the trees, but Creep Wave needs to be cleaned up first. Got to make room for that Eclipse. Dude, Z-Freak is still off his Blink Dagger. This is a extraordinarily slow farm game, and now he's actually caught. He can Burrow Strike even further into the trees, but not if MSS Burrow Strikes him first. He's going to get stomped into the ground, quite literally. That feel when the enemy Rubik is Sand Kinging better than you are. Dude, MSS is more farm than Snaking. I feel like Snaking has always been in the right place, but he's always been coming in just like a second too late. That's not to say that he's been playing poorly. I think it's because, like, you know, there's miscommunication between when the first person should go in and when they expect to get that Omni Knight support. There's several times now Snaking's been able to drop all of his spells, but it's just been a little bit too late. I don't think you could blame any one person there. You just blame the coordination on the team. Not like that's any better, right? Only a 2k lead, though, for Storm. It is still compLexity working with a hell of a lot of farm on a lot of these heroes, plus with the ability to push, take objectives off of a half-decent fight. Storm, they should not feel comfortable in this game. Not until they're able to set themselves up in a position where they can take out Roche. And that's not going to happen for quite a long time here. It is more likely that compLexity win a fight take Roche than VGJ.Storm doing the same. Getting a disc on the Omni Knight certainly will be very useful here. But they're really just waiting for this BKB on Viper. Pick that up, and they may have that Reality Rift Pierce spell immunity at some point, but not going to be coming up just yet. So the Viper will be able to actually walk in, and then, of course, Omni Knight just has to worry about that GA, has to worry about that Luna mostly. They also need that Blink Dagger on the Sand King compLexity. Again, this is a very, very low amount of farm on a hero that we usually see by this point have Blink Dagger and a little bit more, like either working towards that Yule Scepter or Force Staff. Either way, just the makings of an additional item. And he doesn't even have that first one. Feels bad, man. compLexity still are playing as if they have a Blink Dagger Sand King, but they're being pushed in the meantime. VGJ aren't really gonna feel amazing about racing for structures, but they're not racing for structures. They're just pushing regularly here. And with this Alpha Wolf, plus 30 damage, you got plus 118, now 121 on the Luna. Absolutely shredding objectives. Caller gonna make the classic trade, tier 2 for the Roche. They do use the Exorcism for this though. Storm are gonna smoke up. They will not be able to get here in time. But if they are able to catch compLexity on the retreat, there's about a 0% chance that compLexity win that engagement because they will not have that Exorcism. So they will have a double life onto Chessie. Will blink out. In fact, everyone's disengaging to the north as Storm smoking in. They will only have Z-Freak as a potential target, although running to the north maybe we'll have a couple more. I don't know. compLexity know exactly what's going on here. Like, you don't see anyone from the Storm side. They're not defending this top lane. They're not pushing mid or bottom. Where can they be? It's a mystery. Yeah, they'll just break that smoke, and ultimately it will be actually 2 towers in exchange for Roche. Again, this Luna is absolutely dishing. Pack Leader Aura is the real deal here. On the Luna and on the Viper. Not to mention the fact that armor isn't really going to be huge here. Oh, Z-Freak trying to Sandstorm farm. He can Burrow Strike into the trees and teleport out. MSS doesn't have anything stolen, actually, and cannot catch up to him. We'll have to let that one go. Fortunately for Z-Freak, he doesn't die. He's actually very close to his Blink Dagger now. Still, it is very, very late, and at this point, VGJ.Storm are going to be expecting the Blink Dagger, even though he still doesn't have it. They're going to be playing as if he did. Out to a 5k lead. Very similar to last game, how this standing status quo is going to be favoring the Storm side as they just get more farm and more heroes. But it's not to the point where they're at this super critical mass and compLexity have no late game. That was last game. That is not this game. compLexity, even though they may be 4 or 5k behind, they can still fight and win those engagements very, very easily. All they need to do is find that blink initiation, get a good exorcism, and try to manhandle that Omni Knight. Will be a little more difficult now since he is looking at a disc. So insta-killing Omni, not really a possibility. Assuming he does get the disc. I would recommend completing your item eventually. They're playing rather... Both sides are freaking terrified right now because no one's presenting on the map. I think both sides think that the other team is smoking. And VGJ are right. The compLexity side are in fact smoking. MSS, Fade Bolt for farm. Dude, that's why he's level 14 with this much net worth, because he's making these type of sneaky plays. He's working on a 5-kill spree though, so going out like this for MSS could potentially be really costly. They lose their courier. That's the disc offline. And Tomato TP out is going to be cut short by that Blink Burrow Strike. He does have a BKB. I'm not sure if this is the time to use it, though. He's just dead to the Bolt and the Drain. Great pickup there for compLexity. Not just that Viper, but also delaying that disc on the Omni Knight. So now, it's another 3 minutes some odd where VGJ.Storm are going to be looking to dodge these engagements. In that time, though, they are going to be farming up this Luna even further. Looking at a BKB of her own. Viper, though, is starting to fall behind. Is he? Really? He's going for a disc himself? That is interesting. Unless that quick buy is bugged. No, it's not. Interesting, interesting. I mean, he does need to survive, but you would think that BKB would give him enough survival. He doesn't also have to pile onto that disc. I mean, the reason it's good on heroes like Omni Knight is that you don't need to do damage. It's not a big deal if you can't do that purification damage, but as Viper, if you're just sitting there and tanking, like, you're not really doing anything for the team with your spells. That's just not doing anything, so I don't know if he's going to commit to this. Top lane being pushed just a little bit. It's free for Chessie because he does have that Aegis and Yawar. Get in there as well, though. Get hit with the Burrow Strike. Rainbow of TPs coming in. Hurricane Pike, Repel, and he will be fine. Snaking will be fine as well. And they're going to teleport towards top lane where the party's already started. BKB's out from Tomato. Earth Splitter coming in will connect on just a handful of illusions as Kitrak will be reality rifted back into an awkward corner, and he is dead. Looks like no one else is really a viable kill, though. Everyone else for compLexity piecing out of there really quickly, and that's a 10-second BKB from Tomato. Kind of an expensive Witch Doctor kill, though. They will look for a little bit more, trying to get immediately over into the mid lane, but Z-Freak, you can Spirit right on top of it, cancel the Blink Dagger, if he didn't have that Raindrop. Man, they still got Raindrops in their inventory. It's such a cost-effective item. There's like very few reasons to not have it, especially when it's life-saving like that. What's the damage buffer again? 120? What one level? Okay, if he has a level 3 or level 4 Astral Spirit, he actually breaks that and breaks the Blink Dagger. Unfortunate. Luna scouting with an illusion, and they are going to be running headlong into Z-Freak, but oh, MSS blinks in, but the quick reaction from the Sand King. Instant Sandstorm, instant Blink. This is a really, really close game right now. All about this this Omni Knight Luna kind of partnership here for Storm. If they're able to keep these two heroes together, get the GA out on the Luna, yeah, they're looking at a pretty good fight. ET, kind of the same thing. Give her some cover with that stomp. It's all about buying her space in these fights.
Radiant are scanning.
If they're able to do that, great. If not, compLexity should be able to just roll forward. Because at this point, the Viper really isn't a threat. Disc is not going to make him a threat either. Omni Knight isn't a threat. Yeah, the Rubik, like initiation-wise, on super small scale engagements is dangerous. But odds are he's not really going to be stealing anything that's going to be fight-breaking. There's a chance. Burrow Strike on several heroes, a Cask on several heroes. Why didn't that Fade Bolt bounce to this guy? That was weird. Yeah, but Rubik's contributions are going to be somewhat limited as far as what Storm need damage-wise for the team. Still, the Aegis has been timed out at this point. That was only the first Roche, so there is no cheese floating around either. See VGJ just making the pings out for bottom lane. Down to half HP from just pretty much no commitment. Just a little bit of shoving from Luna earlier. She is getting some extra stat levels on that 20 talent. But of course, more importantly, it's just all about that gold for her. Aghanim Scepter next on the Omni Knight. Again, GA on the Luna, very important, and a lot easier to cast GA when you don't have to be near her. This is a little more like it. Blink Dagger, Hurricane Pike for Tomato. Why go full defensive, man? It just doesn't make much sense. Unless you're an Omni Knight. What do we got in complexity? The Aghanim Scepter build up on the Pugna. The DP, working with a Disc of her own. Now that is going to let you cast Exorcism, so that's a pretty good item. And BKB will be picked up on the CK and then sequencing the Echo Saber afterwards. So definitely what you would expect for pretty much all of these heroes, I would say. Disc a little bit more of a wild card item, but perfectly reasonable for the DP. The Pugna with his BKB working on that Ags, in fact, very close to it. I mean, he is still a soft and viable kill for Storm. But with Magic Immunity and Life Drain, little Skelly Boy is a lot tankier than perhaps Storm will expect. Right now, though, just waiting for those BKB timings, waiting for those big items, waiting for this guy. Roche is up with cheese. Storm don't really have the best in Roche taking, except for the super farm Luna that they have. For sure it'll be easier for complexity to do that, but not while they're actively being split pushed. You are just on top of this tower, which was already really banged up from before. MSS kind of being chased out here. Blinks away. Ooh, he's going to go for an Aghanim Scepter. Actually, a couple of pretty good Ags. Being able to Phantasm a Luna seems dirty. I've never seen that before because it's such a weird corner case, but that seems absolutely bonkers. Of course, like, Death Prophet. Pugna Drain is better. Sanking Burrow Strike is better. Death Ward is just better. But I want to see that, man. Show me that Luna. Luna free Manta style. Free Super Manta style. Hell yeah, that's what I'm about. It also just lets him cast more stolen spells in general. But that's not as fun to look at as the as what he can do with those spells. Z-Freak, he's just walking straight in, man, and he will still get beamed because there's a sentry on the ground. Burrow Strike out, MSS giving chase, but he can't quite find him. Playing around those trees, and it is darkness right now, nighttime. Z-Freak boldly walking up high ground. Will get unpunished. In fact, everyone's playing the split push game. VGJ.Storm are doing it just slightly better. They're actually getting away with towers, and Z-Freak once again is going to be spotted. But there is no like Radiance or quick Yule Scepters here this time, so just easy blink out. This is the type of game where like nothing has happened for long enough that everyone is just Monka-essing and really, really scared about getting into an engagement. Because one botched engagement and man, your game is just kind of done. Like you lose all these towers, you lose the status quo as VGJ. That's terrible. And for complexity, like if they lose the fight, they might just lose a Rax set. So everyone's just like really scared right now. I mean, pile onto that the fact that it is the finals where complexity are facing elimination. And of course, VGJ.Storm don't want to botch this either. Like, why play 3 games when you can play 2? So everyone is just really, really scared right now. Snaking, pushing forward. He is not looking scared because he does have that disc. Yawar, smoke's gonna be broken. And they'll just run away. Fun and interactive Dota.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
We're just gonna wait and everyone's just gonna get 6 slotted. I'm interested in this MSS versus Snaking farm battle, as the Aghanim Scepter is up on the Rubik. Reduces the cooldown to 2 seconds on that spell steal. Almost that's level 18, man. Spell steal is gonna be incredibly powerful. I get that level 20 talent, telekinesis land distance. I feel like that's most of the time what's gonna happen, although 5% null field is actually no joke this game either, so there's definitely a case to be made. And if 300 land distance was bad for whatever reason, then you would happily get the null field talent. But it's pretty good. Split push, man. Want to see more heroes on the complexity side pick up travels. DP obviously has bigger concerns. Disc should be done? No, disc is done. Oh, it's right in the inventory, yeah. I don't know why I didn't see that. Probably Shiva's guard next. Yawar will slide into that Roche pit with the Alpha Wolf. Can you, again, I don't know if you can break off bash. I think you can. He's not bashing at all. They have a whole bunch of Nether Toxin everywhere. Z-Freak gonna go right in, sees Roche, takes a lot of hits though from the bouncing glaives, and Z-Freak is gonna get eclipsed just to death. Chessie in the background though is gonna jump with the Phantasm, is gonna challenge the Yawar, he's getting shredded. Chessie has to run and he's gonna go down as well. No one's dealing with this Luna as Tomato's driving back Moo. Limp is trying to do some damage in the middle of the fight with the Exorcism as the epicenter comes in from Z-Freak. Will kill off SVG, but that's only the Elder Titan. They're gonna get on top of the DP now. Still the Exorcism is running, but she's now broken in the Nether Toxin, trying to run away. Another beam is there, lift up from MSS, dragging her back into another Nether Toxin. As a Burrow Strike does come in, Z-Freak maybe sacrificing his life here to give his friendlies some space, but it's not gonna happen because MSS grabs the stolen Aghanim Scepter Burrow Strike, jumps right in onto Limp. Nether Toxin once again is there, full restore from the spirits, but the drain is out onto the Luna, needs some help, not in time. As Snaking got silenced, couldn't purify, couldn't do anything. Luna though is gonna buy out, as will Kitrak on the other end. All of a sudden, a fight happens, and it will be a fight that is going to result in almost entirely even exchanges. But that is going to be VGJ.Storm taking the win ultimately because they take the Roche. That's cheese for Tomato. That's Yawar with a double life, which he desperately needs after having spent buyback. But we can see the impacts of this Rubik already. Being able to just stay in the middle of fights comfortably since you do have so much HP. Stealing a huge stun in this Burrow Strike. I don't know if it... Does Stolen Burrow Strike apply Caustic Finale? I don't actually know. It might. But either way, Yawar's got the double life. And he is looking to crack open this tier 3 tower. Once we have that, we got the glaives bouncing through. Limp does not have his ultimate, nor does Chessie. And they will catch the Death Prophet, but with the disc coming back soon, we'll be fine. Although the Luna, maybe less so. Snaking's gonna get the purification, but gets silenced again. Luna's down. She does have a Hurricane Pike. She does have probably enough backup to get out of here, with the BKB especially. We'll be fine, but now Storm, once again, gotta back off. It looks like their retreat will be safe. Tower will be held, so Complexity still will have all of their shrines safe and secure. Ultimately, that fight ends up with the cheese, which I think is just past the Yawar right now. Yeah, he's got the cheese now. The real big takeaway, though, of that fight is how desperately the CK needs that level 20. 150 gold is great, but Reality Rift Pierce's spell immunity is actually what lets him challenge this Luna and the Viper and, of course, whoever's repelled. You absolutely need that talent because we saw in the last fight, his singular hero, his regular hero, not his Phantasm Illusions, was just running around, able to hit a couple of people, but not really with any significant burst damage because of the lack of Reality Rift. Get this CK to level 20, and Complexity once again get another Breath of Life. Up until that point, though, I would expect this Luna to be reigning supreme, assuming she's not pulled out a million miles away from her allies. We also saw the Viper in that last fight. Just very, very persistent. Shiva's guard after the Force Staff, adding that additional durability for the team. Mostly versus that CK. Doesn't really do a lot versus that Death Prophet. Does a lot for him personally, but not for the team. The ghosts are unaffected by the cold aura. Freezing aura?
Middle tower is under
Frozen
attack.
aura? Ice aura? Chilling aura? I don't know. That Arctic thing that slows the attack speed, whatever it's called. Sneaking gonna run to limp. Long range burrow struck with purification. They activate the combo breaker, and oh, BKB's really early. Chessie pops the Phantasm as well. Sneaking's combo breaker is gonna go off, but they do land the stomp onto everyone. Sneaking, he's gonna take a lot of damage here as the Earth Splitter does come in, cracks back Chessie, and the GA is stopping all the damage in the world. Suddenly, everyone on VGJ is absolutely invulnerable, and the Death Prophet is isolated. Moo's draining out the Luna for about no damage, and now the chase is on. BKB TP out. Looks like there's nothing to combo break that. But that sequencing for compLexity was just a disaster. They BKB stack up with the Eon Disc, which is just not what you want to do, because you're magic immune, you're literally immune, so it's like, why bother being magic immune? And then the CK jumps in, Phantasms, but is unable to find a Phantasm on a Reality Rift, rather, onto anyone. So he ultimately doesn't do anything either. Now they get the lift up onto the Pugna, dragged right back thanks to the level 20 talent. Moo is going to get just eviscerated, as will Z-Freak. Here comes the CK back onto Snake King, but he's tagged with the Viper Strike, and he's going to go down to the blender that is the Luna attacking Rax with Glaives. That Butterfly is going to let loose again shortly. Here comes the bounces. Look at it go. Now slide down to the bottom lane, looking for 2 Rax. VGJ.Storm looking to be on fire. They have been on fire. Not going to lie, man. They've been absolutely tearing it up, and it looks like they will tear up everyone in GESC all the way perhaps to Thailand. As they're going to clean up 2 Rax. Looking at the third, there is no CK here. compLexity. Honestly, a very impressive run, but once they lose the Megas, there is a very low chance of them coming back into this game. They need an answer, but there are no answers. There is no GA for Sneaking, but who cares? They're going to get lift up onto Limp. He's going to get dragged right back in. BKB is up, but he's taking so much damage from the Luna. He finally does get that combo breaker, but now he's not doing any damage as Moo's taking all the damage. Instead, the Luna is just going to work. Here comes the Epicenter, but it's not going to be enough. They've already lost that Pugna. Tumar's literally at full HP because he gets a Satanic delivered halfway through that engagement. And VGJ.Storm will claim victory here. I don't know what they need visa-wise or anything like that. But we have ourselves, guys, the winner. Along with, who I think it was SG Esports qualifying now for GESC Thailand. I could actually check because I have the schedule. Yeah, SG Esports were the SA qualifier champions. We still got CIS, EU, and C to run, though, so currently GESC only working with a handful of teams, but VGJ.Storm, man, they have been absolutely incredible this entire tournament, qualifier, tournament, whatever. Yeah, just ironclad play all around. Sneaking is the late game shot caller, and you could tell, like, definitely making that work, waiting for those items, and to be fair, that late game was kind of wishy-washy there from compLexity. The Pugna, although he did have all of these abilities, like, he just couldn't get enough, and Chessie definitely had a little bit of a struggle in operating in those later game engagements. And guys, we may have a little bit of a chat with someone on Storm, or they might just be a little bit too happy for that. They've been trying to get some interviews, and that's kind of cool, man. I like how VGJ.Storm are just, like, from the management perspective, trying to push their players, talk a little bit more to the audience, because we don't really get to talk a lot with players. At least you don't get to hear players talk a lot outside of their own streams, outside of tournaments like the summit, or these kind of situations where the players are actually on the forefront. But, like, just casual stuff is what we're going to be doing. So, guys, I actually am going to start things off with trying to fix everything up because I'm ill-prepared, as to be expected. But they're ill-prepared also. They're not ready. There you go. But, yeah, it looks like I'm going to be getting a little bit of a chat here with the early game drafter. That's not capitalized properly. With the captain of VGJ.Storm. I'm gonna get SVG here soon. Are you ready for this, guys? Are you ready for the most amazing overlay? Boom, boom. Oh my God, it's not even the same color. Quick, change the color to something more gray. Drop it over here. Is that? Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's beautiful. I get paid so much for this production. Okay, he's actually going to the bathroom. But yeah, I think it's actually pretty cool. Like, no one told me that I would be like talking with these guys, because usually like us scrub casters, we don't get to talk to the players, at least not like this. But I think it's definitely a good move even if you're not like the biggest team or whatever, like kind of asking to be on the stream and presenting yourself as a player, of course, aids your team brand as a whole, because they're like, oh yeah, I know that VGJ.Storm squad. They're the team that said this and this after their win or loss of this. The only weird thing is that I'm not sure if they still want to do these after match interviews if they lose. I'm really, really thankful that they didn't lose, because if they did want to do it, dude, loser interviews suck, man. Like, I have never seen a single good loser interview. I don't know if you guys have, but it's always like, you lost. How do you feel? And they're like, oh, we tried our best. We did everything we could, but we had a couple issues with the draft. Couldn't really do much after that. But actually, hold on. It looks like we may actually have someone here, so I could stop talking to myself.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Guys, this is, I'm told this is SVG. I can't really hear you that well, so I'm going to increase my volume.
Mikey? Volume up?
Yeah, we're good.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, so congratulations, first of all, to everyone on your
Thank you.
team. I gotta ask, off of that first game, speed drafting, how much does it affect you? Because it seems like one of those things that some drafters can handle, some can't.
I mean, I knew that we were probably going to be in some situation where we had limited reserve time, so I was kind of ready for it. But pretty much you just have to go in and draft what you're comfortable playing and try and do the best you can. There's honestly no like strategy for it, right? But I was pretty comfortable with it, to be honest, because it's not like a situation where only one team has reserve time and one doesn't.
Are you usually like that? Do you usually have like these set strategies prepared? Like if you have extra reserve time as the person who's actually making that draft, is there a lot of thinking involved, or is there a lot more kind of planning with what's already been prepared?
I'd say usually with drafts, the openers are more constructed, and the farther you go in a draft, it usually becomes more of like a team discussion based thought process type of thing. I think that's how most teams work.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the case with that draft. It's kind of both teams know what the other team wants in their opener, and it usually comes down to if someone wants to trade or what they're comfortable giving away. And then you just as a team have to be prepared of like, all right, if they first pick this or open this, what is our response that we want to use, right? That's going to set us up well in the rest of the draft. But the rest of it's pretty much based on the bans and some of the stuff they show later on.
All right, so of course you guys, unfortunately for everyone, it is just a best of three. So you guys just cleaned up here. You're in a situation where you're one game away. How much does that actually impact the calls, the gameplay, the mentality? Because it definitely looked like, at least for this second game, that everyone in the game was a little bit scared. Is that definitely affecting you guys, or was that all deliberate?
I actually don't think it affected us at all. People were pretty much in the same mentality, and I was trying to kind of maintain that. I think the thing about this last game is it looks like that, but it's just the nature of how the drafts play against each other. There's not a lot of like ways that, for example, our draft can just start a fight. So it comes down to both teams are firing for their items, and then we're going to force the fights in a way where our lineup wants to take them. So the game kind of seems like a slow farm fest, but maybe like passive would be the word people would use. But in actuality, like what we're doing is we're just trying to maintain the map to the best of our ability and play for our timings, which we're late game in this game.
All right, well, again, congratulations to everyone on your team. Of course, we all know that Dota, even though you win, it's not always perfect. What did you take away as far as what your team needs to improve over the entirety of these qualifiers? What are you guys looking to improve on? I know you can't be happy with just this, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always something to improve. It's pretty hard for me to say right now, just because
That's fair.
we're in the middle of the tournaments, right? I'll have to like reflect on all the games we played and stuff. But pretty much after every series we play, we always talk about what we want to keep working on, and the biggest thing for us is just keeping the communication in a good state and keeping the atmosphere up and having faith in each other and the team and the drafts and just playing, letting mistakes slide, stuff like that. Those are always the biggest things for especially a new team like us, is if you can get that mentality in a good place and everybody trusts each other, then you're going to do pretty well, like regardless of the draft or play or whatever. So that's kind of what I try and keep working on with this team in particular.
So have any of you guys been to Thailand?
I have not. I can't speak for everybody, but should be a fun, exciting experience. I'm just pretty happy that we get to go to some lands this season. Hopefully we get to go to some more than just this one, but this is a pretty good start. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
All right, well, better get those passports ready.
Yeah.
So, dude, congratulations again on the win. Any shout outs you want to make? Sponsors, people, anything?
Shout out to VGJ, all the staff and management who works here. They've been really good for us. They set us up really well, and they've built a really nice atmosphere and support cast. So huge shout outs to all of them.
All right, I'm going to let you go. Guys, that was SVG. You can, of course, follow him at SVG.Dota. You don't have to capitalize, so don't worry about that. You can also follow follow the team. Follow both these two teams. Give compLexity a little bit of love as well. It's at compLexity at team_VGJ. I'm gonna let SVG go right now, and we're just going to call it quits for the day, guys. Again, we're all kind of bummed. Wasn't a best of 5. Would love to see more of these two teams play, but there are more games to be played for other tournaments, so you will, I'm sure, see more VGJ.Storm in the future, and more compLexity at that. Guys, if you enjoyed the games, well, you definitely want to stick around and make sure that you watch the other qualifiers. They're not currently scheduled properly, which is unfortunate. But yeah, if you enjoy the casting, you can also follow me along at Mike Loris. I'm sure there's some game being played right now, guys. Go watch that. For right now, we are done. See you guys next time. GG.